BlakGooseTV family, what's good with it? I know y'all see the energy, man. The energy is different from the last couple of days. I know you see the way I'm talking. You like, hey, Fluence, yo, you back doing your thing. You fixed everything is good. Nah, man, them antibiotics kicked in. So my whole mouth is numb. So me doing this, it ain't causing me no pain, which is a blessing. I still got I still got everything set up for me to get fixed, hopefully by the end of next week or the week after. But the antibiotics kicked in, so I'm back to giving y'all the type of energy y'all was looking for. And I appreciate everybody rocking with me in the other videos. But let's get straight to it. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of people saying that Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford is never going to happen. Why am I tired? Why am I saying I'm tired of people saying that? Because I was one of those people. I'm one of those people. I am firm in the belief that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford happening at 147 is less likely to happen than them meeting at 154. Like, I got myself into the belief, like, yo, if we were going to ever see a Terence Crawford Errol Spence fight, we're probably going to have to book it for 154. That'll be the only way we see it happening. And part of the reason why, I've said this before, this isn't criticism toward Errol Spence, but I also understand Errol Spence's, perspective toward this as well when it comes to him bringing up Crawford, or when he's asked about Crawford. Spence is just honest with it. He's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys what you want to hear. I'm just going to tell you what really is going on. And the fact that Crawford is with Bob Arum and Top Rank, this fight will probably not get made, because at the end of the day, remember, one of the biggest things was a split, right? Crawford was like, oh, they want a bigger split, all this type of stuff. Bob Arum said the same thing. He's like, this has to be even, or I have to have I have to be the A side. I firmly believe Errol doesn't care about that. I firmly believe the only thing Errol cares about is his legacy. But he knows that his promotional company, his managers, PBC, Al Heyman, they care about that. That matters to them. So we have to keep in perspective when we hear guys like Errol Spence talk, where he's very straightforward, but also he doesn't say anything to make his fans or those who hate him or those who expect to hear something from him. He doesn't say anything to put your expectations at a level that it shouldn't be. He's very straightforward, and he's just like, look, I would love for the Terence Crawford fight to happen, but it just seems unlikely. And that's what we've heard a lot from Errol Spence. On the other side from Terence, it's a little bit different. Not that he's saying it's going to happen, but he's made a position saying, I have no problem fighting Errol. So when you look at it, outside looking in, it almost looks as if, well, Crawford wants to fight, but Spence keeps saying this has to be the stipulations for it to happen. It's not Spence saying it, it's his team, right? And Spence is just so goddamn honest. He's like, I'm not finna act here and be all bravado and be like, I want to fight Crawford, let's make it happen, which a lot of fighters do, because, a lot of times the persona and the personality sells more than the actual skill. Or if you don't feel like your skill level is there, the persona can put you in a place that your skill level can't, right? So with that being said, Errol doesn't do that. We've talked about it before. Everyone knows Errol's style, how he is. He's much more entertaining in the ring than he is outside. So is Terence Crawford. Both of them have that same aspect. Terence Crawford is a little different, though, to the fact where we've heard Crawford say, I want the Spence fight, where we haven't necessarily heard Spence say he wants it. Like, we've heard Spence say, I have no problem with the fight, but always there's some type of realistic perspective coming after that, where he says, I want the fight, but the way it looks, his promotional company who he's with, I don't see it happening. And so recently, obviously, with Terence Crawford not being with Top Rank anymore, obviously he's going through his lawsuit, so he's going to have to get all that settled before, he's actually able to start negotiations for any fight. And there is speculation that Terence Crawford is going to be signing with PBC. How true that is, I don't know. But remember, you guys heard it here first, because I've been saying, hey, yo, look, after he beat Porter, he went on the Porter Way podcast and he named the guys that he wanted to fight before he retires. It was Spence, Ugas, and Thurman. And then he said, if I can't get them, I want the winner of I want the winner of Castano versus Charlo. Those are all PBC fighters. So he's basically telling you, like, look, I understand that I have to go and sign with PBC in order for me to get the fights that I want. Will that end up being the case? We'll see. But just remember, you heard it here first. So don't let nobody ever cap and try and tell you that, they on some new news type shit. Like, nah. You can research, you can look. It's pretty obvious that Terence Crawford is leaning toward PBC. However, they're going to, end up detailing the contract, whether it's going to be his own promotional, doing a co-promotional, however that may go. It's hard for me to see Terence Crawford go with anyone, or at least do a co-promotional deal with anyone but PBC, unless the other person promises that I can get you the fights that you're looking for with PBC. We've already seen the only other person who possibly would be able to do that would be Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn has already came out and said, like, look, I don't think we can get Terence, because I don't think we can get the fights that he wants. So his really only choice, for the people he called out, or at least the people that he wants to fight, he has to sign with PBC. So with that being the case, Now you see Errol Spence changing the narrative a little bit. He's a little bit more confident, saying like, yo, and he's honest. Like, right, that's what you got to give to Spence. He's honest. He's just saying, hey, it's much more likely that me and Crawford could fight now that he's not with Errol. He said that multiple times in the past couple of weeks. Obviously, people keep talking about it as we near this Ugas fight. He's never directly said Crawford is next. At one point, I myself speculated, and a lot of boxing fans and boxing media speculated he wanted Thurman next, or Thurman seemed to be the guy, et cetera, et cetera. But Errol Spence actually dismisses Thurman, and he's finally came out and he said Crawford is the guy that he wants to fight if he beats Ugas. And I think that's a big thing. I think that's a big deal. A lot of y'all may be like, oh man, we've been hurt this. It's the same old, same old. No, we haven't been hurt this. Errol Spence is a guy to say something he doesn't mean. Errol Spence is the guy to say something where, like, he's not going to tell the people something and have something come out of his mouth just because it sounds good and people can rock with it. He's never been that guy. So if he's saying Crawford is the guy he wants after Ugas, I believe this fight can get done. It all just depends if the lawsuit with Terence Crawford is settled. And if Terence Crawford ends up, obviously moving forward and doing either a co-promotional deal with PBC or, just signing PBC straight out for what, maybe like, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 fights if we're talking about what he's thinking about. So this is what Spence said. I'm going out to get this belt. By the way, I'm also going to do a reaction to Spence, his interview of actually talking about this. So if you guys don't get this far into it, check out the reaction I'm going to do. That one probably be a little bit shorter than this. But I'm going out to get this belt, and then I'll have 3 belts at Spence about Ugas. I'm trying to get that fight done, but the only way that fight against Terence Crawford can get done is if I beat Ugas. That's what I'm 100% focused on for 2.5 weeks until the fight. After that, we could discuss Terence Crawford. I think so. I feel like that would be the biggest fight in sports. It's for the undisputed crown. I think that's a huge fight, especially with us in our prime. I'm hoping that can happen. I don't have nothing to say about that. There are 2.5 weeks left. If he's improved, we'll see on April 16th. He's talking about Ugas. I don't know if he's knocked Sean Porter down or not, but it was a close fight that could have gone either way. I don't know who won the fight. Sometimes I watch it and think Ugas won, and other times I watch it and think Sean Porter won. It was a super close fight, so I don't know. So that's Spence just being honest about that. But once again, like I said, Spence, he's not going to say anything or put anything out there that's not realistic, that's not true, that doesn't have any type of business perspective behind it, what's going on. He's not going to just say it. So him alluding to Crawford being next and him gunning for that fight, the only way I don't see it happening is if the lawsuit that he has with Bob Arum ends up tying him up longer than it should be, which will be unfortunate, which means Thurman will be next for Spence. But if the lawsuit can get settled, relatively quickly after this Ugas fight, I don't see why Crawford versus Spence cannot happen either at the end of this year or beginning next. But we'll see, man. All this is speculation. I'm just happy to hear Errol Spence not calling out, but basically saying, yeah, I think we could, like, this is the second time, before he said, I think the fight with Crawford is a lot easier to make. And now he's coming out with this and saying, if I beat Ugas, if I get past him, we're focusing on the Crawford fight. So that's fire information. In my personal opinion, I can't really smile like that because it's going to hurt. But in my personal opinion, that's fire news. Let me know what you guys think about it. As always, drop it in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, man. Boxing. I'm telling you right now, we're going to grow to be the biggest boxing channel, or at least this year is going to be one of the biggest growths when it comes to boxing because we do it differently. It ain't nothing but love. It ain't nothing but family vibes. Appreciate y'all. I'm out for now, but keep looking for the content because I'm